Hey guys, I am back and today will be my first hair tutorial. I am going to do one of my favorite looks. It only takes a few minutes in the morning and it's really nice for hair that has been slept on overnight. It could be second day hair, third day hair. If you're feeling like your hair is really flat, it's a nice refresher for something like that. Right now my hair, I just washed it last night and I put a little bit of a medium to firm hold gel in it, just a dime-sized amount, and then I just kind of took all of it up and slept with it kind of on a bun. So I just do something like this and then I wrap it around my head and let it pretty much air dry for, 50%, 60%, and then right before bed I do let it out and I kind of like just let it do its thing. Obviously, I could leave it like this, and a lot of times I do because I'm kind of busy and don't feel like styling it or that kind of thing. So sometimes I will just go like this and it does look nice. First thing you're gonna need is just a normal brush, whatever you prefer. A clip for sectioning, so I just have a little clip. I do have a sea salt spray that I do swear by. I love the John Frieda one. It's really nice, it smells really fresh, and it's awesome. It doesn't have a super crunchy hold. And then I also have a texturizer, and that's from Kenra. It is a dry texture spray. My hair is very fine and very soft, so to get the hold that I want and the texture that I want, I do have to use something like this. And then the last thing you will need is a little undulator. This is already plugged in, it's hot and ready to go, but this just really helps to create the wave look that I really like. They sell them on Amazon. I think Bedhead makes one for like $25. Super cheap, but honestly, one of the best tools for a go-to thing that looks great. So I'm gonna get started. First off, I'm just gonna section my hair, and I'm just gonna take nothing crazy, no like exact sectioning or anything like that. I like to kind of just do it as quickly as possible. And I'm gonna take these two sections right here. I am gonna spray a little bit of the texture spray in there. I'm gonna brush that through. And then I use a tiny bit of this sea salt spray. Then I am just gonna start. I don't do exact sectioning. Sometimes I do smaller sections, sometimes I do larger sections. I like it to look a little bit not so uniform, a little more natural looking. I try to clamp about 1.5 inches away from the scalp, and then you try to get the clamp to go in the next part of the one that you left off in, so it doesn't create anything super funky looking. I never clamp my ends because I like the way that it looks, so about 1 inch from the ends, I just leave that glue right there like that. Same thing on this side. The bottom part, I don't take a lot of time and a lot of care into doing it, just because it's underneath and it doesn't show as much. And then you'll see as the top sections progress and the parts that lay over, I will take a little bit more care in the way that I'm actually weaving it. And as you can see, kind of just count to like 5 and then you can release. If your hair is a little bit more coarse, you might want to leave it on longer if you want to see more of a wave. If you want to see less of a wave, you could even just barely clamp it and then go from there. Same thing, another section, clamped up. And as you can see, this gives you that nice braided look of you braided your hair overnight, or it's kind of been wanded, that kind of thing, without any of the hassle. Same thing. I try to keep a lot of my product towards the mid shaft to the ends, because I find if I start putting it on my roots, the style doesn't stay as long. I don't wash my hair every day. I probably do every 3rd day, sometimes 4th if I'm really lucky and very lazy. And that really helps me to ensure that my hair stays nice and healthy. The color lasts a lot longer. Really only do my color 8 to 12 weeks sometimes, just depending on how much highlighting I've done or that kind of thing. but it's just a really nice method to not wash your hair every day. It's a great time saver, and I find that you can make your hair look nice every single day without having to leave the house with wet hair. If you utilize that second day style or that third day style, you're never gonna have to be styling all the time, which is another really nice saver for your hair. You're not over processing it with heat and that kind of thing, or the blow dryer, and you're saving yourself some time in the morning. And then if you don't have time sometimes, it's really nice to be able to not have to do it and realize I can walk out the door and it'll look just as good. Sometimes, for me, second and third day hair is better. While I'm scrunching this, I actually, if you could tell, I take that last part and move the hair up, so I'm not pulling down, so it's continuing to activate what I've already done and letting the wave actually cool as I'm scrunching that next part. So the next part I kind of just take in one larger section. I just, again, spray down towards the ends. At this point, you would probably want to choose your part. However, that doesn't mean your part has to stay this way. I do have some shorter pieces here, so they do get a little tricky when it comes to actually clamping them in the clamp. So sometimes I find that I chose this part and it has to be changed because it looks kind of funky. So we'll see if that happens today. If it does, I will show you how to kind of work around that. So I always start by leaving that first part section out, and then I go behind it. Now I want to clamp so that it's away from the face. If I start clamping this way and towards the face, I just don't like the way that it falls. I don't think it's as flattering on my face shape. This part I'm going to clamp straight up and down. And then again. So as you can see here, I'm kind of letting that clamped part, the pre-clamped part that I did before, just again cool and just try to keep that activated. Not pulling down, not putting pressure on it. This part I'm just going to take a smaller piece. I like volume in the back of my head, so I just really take a smaller piece and that will make a more concentrated wave. Now this part, since I'm right-handed, is a little bit more difficult for me, so I do kind of hold it up and away from the face, clamp that way, clamp again. As you can see, it's pretty forgiving, so it doesn't have to be exact, which I love. I am not a precise, exact person, so this is like one of the nicest techniques to do. The closer that you get to your root area, the more obviously texture you're going to have there, and sometimes you can even get more lift. However, I just like to stay a little away from the root area because then sometimes you can get clamp marks and that kind of thing, and I don't personally like the way that looks. This one I'm going to do straight up and down as before. And as you can see, I kind of clamp a little less around my face. So this one's just going to get one solid clamp, that's it. So as you can see, there's kind of like a clamp mark there, and that's what I mean by getting closer to the scalp. Unfortunately, with my small pieces here, I have no choice but to get that close. But again, that's kind of the concept. Now, some people could leave it like this. I like to kind of shake it out, see how it's falling best, if I like it better one way or the other. And then I start to spray a little bit more product in it, that kind of thing. So I take a little bit more of this texture spray and I will spray that in here and scrunch. So it's just like if you had nice beach waves, you want to just kind of create those. So you kind of can do that. Sometimes if it's like a little too crazy, I will just tuck one side behind the ear. And then same thing on this side. Now, if you had pieces that you noticed did not actually wave that well, you can re-wave. So like I will start taking smaller pieces and go in and re-wave some of those. Especially if I just want to see a little more definition. Not necessary. I have a little bit extra time, so I'm just going to do that. Okay, so whenever you're finished and you feel like it's to the level of waviness that you would like, I just go ahead and set everything with a little bit more of that sea salt spray. I really like it. It does not make it feel like there's a lot of product on it, and it just helps to really accentuate all those waves and kind of take out any of the frizziness that you created when you were fluffing it and moving it around. I prefer this over a hairspray because hairspray to me tends to make my hair really tangly and knotty because I do have a finer hair texture. So as soon as I start doing something like putting in a lot of hairspray, especially towards my ends, I feel like I can't run my hands through it, and that's just a really big preference of mine. So again, you're just gonna wanna spray it up and then in. If I wanted more body, I could even flip it over and do that, put some more of sea salt spray in it, but I like the way that it looks today. I feel like it lands pretty nicely, especially because I haven't done this since I've kind of had shorter bangs. So I like the way that it looks. I'm gonna leave it like this, and it does look better second day, third day, because the waves kind of calm down and fall into place. So I just like the way that looks. Second day, I'll use a little bit of dry shampoo or a powder, and then I'll reactivate everything with this. Even sometimes if it's nice and humid outside, I'll take a little bit of water in my hands and kind of get a little bit of water with that product as well, and just scrunch, and it reactivates the curl really nicely. If you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.